Hey everyone, got sound right? Yes. So this is a debate to decide once and for all which is the one true God, the flying spaghetti monster, or the invisible pink unicorn.
Yeah!
And I guess some of you are not familiar with this debate. These are the two main religions of our time. So this video should basically give you a good introduction to some of the issues we're going to be debating today.
A thousand trillion years before the time of men began, in the dawning of the universe in an invisible land, there was beautiful unicorn that no one ever saw, with the power of leading to a couple hundred sharks. She rides, oh, she rides. It teased me for 100 years before the age began, being with the power over every mortal man, in the sky above a mountain and a midget and a tree, probably a volcano and a strip of factory. Whispered something that a blind man could hear. Everyone shouted like a lightning bolt across the sky. There's been no better things there on the purple ocean line. And I believe it's gasping off two sides of the line. And no one knows the other. And she rides. Yeah!
And sort of moderate this debate. So hopefully by now you've cottoned on that the question we're debating is whether or not the IPU, if this will pink unicorn or flying spaghetti monster, is the one true God. So this has obviously been the subject of great disputes for many centuries. We've had wars, battles, verbal jousts and sleepless nights. It's been the cause of rigorous academic inquiry and the subject of thousands of coin flips as people decide which to devote their life to. It's possibly the most important question ever asked, for in the answer is a perfect explanation of the world, an understanding of all that is needed, guidance for living a good life, as an answer to the question of whether pasta or pizza with ham and pineapple is on the menu tonight. Now I say an answer would provide all this, but really I should say an answer will provide all this, for we're here to finally, conclusively, decisively solve this age-old problem. It's of course clear that that either believing in the IP or believing in the SFM are the only two live options. So we have here a genuine dichotomy. If one is false, then the other must be true. So by the end of the night, everyone in this room will know for once and all who is holy and blessed and who are the heathenous infidels going to hell. So here representing the plain spaghetti monster, we have Richard, a reverent atheist and closet pirate. Scott, long-time student and lover of linguine, fettuccine, penne and gnocchi.
Yeah.
Matthew, crazy animal rights activist and active in the field of research on the link between David Tenant and the flying spaghetti monster as practiced and valued in sub-Saharan hunter-gatherer societies. And tonight the IPU will be defended by Ben, who's a Christian and pink unicorn trainer. Hannah, allegedly sexy bitch. And George, evolutionist and pink ice sculptor. So without further ado, I'd like to ask Richard to come up and present the case for the flying spaghetti monster.
Do we have any rules for this debate, or is it just...
It's a free
Free for all.
We're allowed to eat these in here. It's one of our most sacred traditions. You just can't, like, it doesn't, no eating or drinking.
No.
So you can't do both at the same time. But you wouldn't want to do that anyway, so.
Oh.
It has water. All food has water in it. You're basically a sack of water. With a power roughly equal to a couple hundred sharks. It's a great plan. So basically I'm going to present 17 proofs. 17 proofs for the invisible pink unicorn. 17 arguments based on Pastafarian natural theology. Firstly, Pastafarianism is the world's fastest growing carbohydrate-based religion. This is logically inconsistent with the invisible pink unicorn being God. Secondly, the argument from physics. Now, we all know that something's pushing us down to stop us from going up. And we all know the standard scientific explanation that without the Earth's magnetic field, we would all go flying off. But I dispute this, and I say that the flying spaghetti monster pushing us down with his noodly appendages is a better explanation for this phenomenon.
It's just a rehash of intelligent falling, that's cool.
It's completely different, Ben. For example, in the past, humans were shorter because there was a smaller global population and there were more noodly appendages to push us down, whereas now that's like shorter. There is a
point of information.
Is this?
Point of information.
I don't know what that means.
Thank you very much. Now, so what you're basically saying is that gravity, as it exists here on Earth, is effectively equivalent to tentacle rape.
As depicted or not, yes.
Well, I will say on that last point on that, we don't have to worry that we're going to go flying into outer space because the flying spaghetti monster loves to touch us with its noodly appendages. And it's not rape because it would be rape if it was a human, but it's God, and you can't apply that to God. It's a completely different realm of... He can do what he wants, he's God. It's true.
It's not true, that's what Matt said the other night.
It says right here on page 57, and then on 72 it says something contradictory to that, but it says at the beginning that there will be contradiction. Anyway, sorry, I need to move on. Evolution. Now, evolution is offered as a so-called scientific explanation for life. But to read from this great book, The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which is infallible, of course, listen to this. It is this process, scientists will tell you, that produced the platypus, the penguin, and the poodle, leading us to conclude that scientists are definitely full of shit. If someone can explain to me the adaptive traits of the duck bill, then they can certainly tell me why the platypus is the only mammal on the planet that has one. Are platypi or platypuses, I don't understand plurals, are they concerned with ingratiating themselves into local duck populations? Do they think they're funny? Why do they have a bill? The flying spaghetti monster. Sorry, is there a PowerPoint?
F5.
There's a keyboard here. The flying spaghetti monster offers a far simpler explanation. He created mountain, trees, and a midget. What more can you... It makes perfect sense. Finally, pirates and global warming. This is a scientific and moral argument. Now, it's accepted by all scientists at the International Panel on Pirates and Climate Change, or the IPPCC, that global warming is being caused by a drastic shortage in pirates. It is our moral obligation to become a pirate and stop global warming.
Point of information, is it not true that indeed, despite the consistent increase in participation in Talk Like a Pirate Day on
September 19th,
on an international level, global temperatures have continued to increase, thereby completely disproving that theory.
Talking like a pirate doesn't make you a pirate.
I was going to play a song, but it doesn't seem to be on here.
Sing it.
Sell the kids for food, wear the, like Top of the Pops, where the change is moved, spring is here again, reproductive glands. I think that's all.
Well, that was actually simply awful. I would now like to call on George. Oh, Ben, we're starting with Ben, apparently. Yeah, I thought so. I thought you'd switch with your season.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Well, good evening, and it's very lovely to be here. And, I'm not sure if I should reply or perhaps I'll just go through with my points now and then perhaps issue a full and final rebuttal geometry arguments a little later on. Now, tonight I'm here to address the believers, both the believers in the invisible pink unicorn, and also those of you ignorantly caught up in the eating of oysters, not knowing that it has deep spiritual significance, and only gives power to the purple oyster, who despises her horniness, the invisible pink unicorn. I speak here today not out of hate, but out of love. A love for each one of you, and a concern for each one of you who do not know the truth, who continue in the eating of oysters, and refuse to hold hands in a circle with humankind to admire the beauty of the invisible pink unicorn. And so I have here one indisputable proof for this, all I need, and a few others also, to show you conclusively that the invisible pink unicorn is the true God. Well, let's see. And I'll do this in two parts. First I'll show you why the invisible pink unicorn must be the one true God, and I'll then go on to show you why the flying spaghetti monster cannot be God. Now, philosophers agree that any God must fulfill three conditions. She must be omniscient, she must be omnipotent, all powerful, and she must be omnibenevolent, all good.
Pronouncing he strange.
It's a she. We all know that males don't create. It's women who give birth, and it is a she who is God. Thank you. Now, omnipotence, and I'm not opposed to the world's great religions, but we just believe that we have the fuller truth. And 2 billion people believe more or less in the Christian scripture, and so we can look in here, but we find even in Christian scripture as a testimony to how great the invisible pink unicorn is. Now, it says in the Bible, Numbers 21, "He hath not beheld iniquity in Jacob, neither hath he seen the perverseness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. God brought them out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of a unicorn." And we see that when the God of the Bible wants to compare himself to something more powerful, well, what would he choose but a unicorn? I think it makes perfect sense. Because the pink unicorn is omnipotent, all-powerful. The testimony of Christian scripture, again, God brought him forth out of Egypt. He has it with the strength of a unicorn. And I think this is marvelous poetry. She shall eat up the nations of her enemies, and she'll break their bones and pierce them through with her arrows. It's clear, even from a male-dominated book such as the King James Bible, that the unicorn is at least as powerful as the God in the Bible, QED, omnipotent. Now, omniscience. What can we say about omniscience? The IPU created the world. This is from the Holy Book of the True Reformed Big Nordic sect of the IPU, verses 3 to 5. The unicorn said, "Let everything exist in my likeness," and everything was pink because it was always so. The unicorn saw that the pink was good. Unicorn separated pink from the light and the darkness, calling the light instruction and the darkness digestion. And the pink and time that exists is all time creation. And there was seemingly evening and morning, the first day to awareness, but the pink was always. How can she not have complete knowledge of the whole world and of all of its intrinsic pinkness? She created it. How can she not? I think it's proven conclusively, my friends. Omniscience. Omnibenevolence is the final one. You might say it's perhaps the hardest to conclude because we all talk about the problem of evil all the time, but I really think all of that's irrelevant. We can put it aside with these couple of points here. Now, with a strict moral system, we know society wouldn't be chaotic. It would be orderly or something. Really, I don't want that. Do you? We're all about chaoticness here at the IPU, worshipping people, and really, I think it would be better if there were a little bit of chaos and fun in society, you know? The IPU is the only God not to give a strict moral system. Other male-dominated moralities are not particularly much fun. For instance, do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery, as it says in Ephesians 5:18 in the Bible. Now, as our great leader Richard Wilde would say, even the flying spaghetti monster has a list of "I really rather you didn't," which is really just a code for rules. Therefore, we have to presuppose the IPU for a chaotic society. She's all good. Philosophers agree that means God must fulfill three conditions. We've seen the IPU is omniscient, she is omnipotent, and she is benevolent. Also, we can have some additional proofs of her divinity from mortal contradiction. Now, the IPU is both pink and invisible. It's not possible for a mere mortal to be merely pink and invisible. Therefore, the IPU, she can't be a mere mortal, she must be divine. But, you know, some skeptics have said, but well, perhaps she merely bends the light around her. Perhaps she's not really invisible and there's no contradiction in us. She's just immortal. But, you know, in the normal laws of science, light always travels in a straight line. So to bend light around her body to give the appearance of ability is visibility. The IPU must be breaking scientific laws. It's not possible for a mere mortal to break scientific laws, therefore the IPU cannot be mere mortal. Again, God. Now the flying spaghetti monster, on the other hand, is not omnipotent. Complex design of the world, we know how complex the world is. All the creatures such as mammals and unicorns, wonderful creatures emerging through the so-called wisdom of what is merely a delicious pasta snack.
Meal.
Really? The FSM flying spaghetti monster is not omnipotent. Oh, we've already made that point. There's the form here, but I'm not going to go into it because it just gets complicated for you guys. You don't need it. Now, omnibenevolent. Neither omnibenevolent. In fact, the flying spaghetti monster doesn't display his love, but he's extremely bitter. Take it from one reviewer of his so-called Gospels, and we have it here. The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. We researched, we've got a copy. One reviewer of a so-called Gospel said his moral code reads like a bitter shopping list of criticisms of organised religion. Now, I put it to you that God is a lover, not a hater. And that is the God we worship here. The invisible spaghetti. Wait, invisible pink unicorn. The flying spaghetti monster is not God. He's not omnipotent. He's not benevolent. He's not God. You can't worship your food and you can't eat your God. To you, ladies and gentlemen. The flying spaghetti monster says to take it on faith, but belief, true belief, is based on faith and reason. And worshipping the IPU, we use both our faith and our reason. We know from observation, we can see that she's invisible. Because we can't see her, but we believe by faith that she's pink. People, please stop the eating of oysters and believe in her horniness today. Thank you very much.
See me afterwards about that photo, Ben.
Good to see you use of real academic resources like Wikipedia there too. I'm not sure about that shade of pink, so I'm going to disqualify you.
Come on!
So now we've got Scott to further defend the flying spaghetti monster.
Yes. Greetings, moderator, fellow spaghettyists, and of course our opposition. Today I would like to present to you as the second chair the case against the invisible pink unicorn. I would say to you that if I was to propose a teapot was floating out in space between Mars and Earth, that this would be completely irrational. And if I was to propose this, I would be seen as crazy. Would that not be the case?
Yeah, I think you're crazy.
However, I am not proposing this because I am not a member of your religion.
But you would be nuts. Batshit crazy.
And if I was to say that no one could disprove this, which of course no one can actually disprove that there is not a teapot flying out in space, would that not be also true? Because, after all, the teapot being too small to see. So, as such...
Is this a microscopic teapot?
No, we just don't have the telescopes powerful enough yet to develop them, to be able to see it. So once that has been developed, once they have been created, I'm sure we'll be able to see this teapot. Quite possibly. What flavour would you like? I believe it's personally green tea, but that's completely up to the
Maybe it's E.T.
And if, for example, this was to be proposed by people in, say, a WoW guild, on a guild raid, would it not be a complete heresy for us to, disprove, to discount this theory of theirs? That's right, yes. It would be a mark of eccentricity, possibly, to disagree with this person, because after all, you can't disprove what they're talking about here. So, in a more enlightened age, we would not send the inquisitors after them, would we? And as a result of this, we must assert that since we cannot prove that it exists, it must not be true. So the invisible pink unicorn must not exist. As such, I suggest that if we do not wish to burn the fiery, pasta-fueled seasoned lightly fires of hell, we should all convert to the flying spaghetti monster. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Scott. I'll give you a D for effort, an E for presentation, and an F for content. So now we have Hannah, again to present the IPU.
Leave that alone. Scares me, confuses me. Hi guys, how are you today? Good? Good? Fabulous. Okay, right, now, I'm here to spread the good word, the glorious word of her horniness, the invisible pink unicorn. So, how I'm going to mostly go about this is by proving the complete and utter outrageous fallacy of Pastafarianism. For after all, if I can prove that Pastafarianism, the only other religion in existence, is inherently flawed, which it is, then obviously the only other option is our one true God. So, the first point I'd like to bring here is that the Pastafarian gospel itself states that faith is essential to religion, and I truly believe that the essential nature of religion is that it's about faith and belief. But here, in the Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, we see that Pastafarianism is the only religion based on empirical evidence. Now I ask you, what kind of religion bases itself on empirical evidence? Have they no faith? Without faith, brothers and sisters, we are truly lost. That is why the invisible pink unicorn is the one true God. For how else could we explain the fact that she is both invisible and pink, other than with faith? The second point I'd like to move on to right now is that Pastafarians are inherently evil. Why, you may ask? Well, again, I will turn to this copy of the Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which states, right here if I can get the page, that Pastafarians kill kiwis. Our national treasure, our beloved bird, right here in the Testament of the FSM, it says that kiwi birds should be dropped off cliffs.
Shame.
Over cliff. Page 63.
Oh, that's complete rubbish.
And it also states, it's got an illustration, look, of a kiwi being thrown off a cliff. It also says that throwing them out of an airplane might work better. In addition, perhaps a kiwi bird sitting in a blender would be motivated to fly out before the switch is thrown. Kiwis cannot fly. That is murder. Brutal, ruthless, evil.
How do you know they can't fly?
On faith. I have faith. Unlike you. Now, next. I'd like to talk about beer. It's a subject very close to my heart. Now, beer is quite aggressively marketed at men, as we can see, from the Tui brewery ads with all that women walking around in bikinis. What the fuck is up with that? Anyway, a Tui's shit? Like, seriously? Who drinks Tui? Anyone? It's awful. It tastes like cat's piss.
That's why they need to market it so much.
Exactly, right? Okay, so, this conclusion, right, we can draw, that beer is aggressively marketed to men. Therefore, a a god that, as one of his first acts, creates a beer volcano, is obviously trying to market himself directly at men. So, this point, I guess, really is for the women in the audience here tonight, is that the FSN has absolutely no concern for women or the rights of women. It is a completely anti-feminist religion. And when you are, especially when you look at the existence of a stripper factory with the questionable existence of male strippers. And I would argue to you that a god that markets himself at men through a beer volcano would not bother with the creation of male strippers in his stripper factories. Therefore, there is nothing in Pastafarian heaven for women, unless they're lesbians. But so, okay, those are my main points that I've got there. For why Pastafarianism is inherently flawed, wrong, evil, completely and utterly faithless, and of course anti-feminist. Now, my next section I'd like to move on to is my rebuttal, but I can't work out how to put the soundtrack to my rebuttal on. So you gonna help me? Okay, I've got some points here that I'd like to share with you.
What do you need?
Oh, anything? I don't know. There was some music on there before.
Oh, the music there.
Yeah.
Can you do flashback?
Oh. It's gonna take too long.
Too long.
I'll sing. I don't know what to sing. What's your favourite song?
There was a place on earth.
La la la. La 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 la. Oh, I should point out right now that I'm not actually going to express my rebuttal points because I don't feel that, I mean, they're so obvious, I don't actually need to explain my argument. So instead, I'm going to express my rebuttal to the opposing team through the mode of interpretive dance. Oh, Kate Bush. Turn it up.
She walked to test her spirit. She knew exactly what to do. Suiting to fool him, she couldn't have made a worse move. She said to this was all he received. Strange to that. She smiled and kissed.
So the third speaker for the Flying Spaghetti Monster, we have Matthew. Like to conclude your case?
I said this guy doesn't even want to hear your case. He's obviously been convinced. Invisible pink unicorns forever.
The very start, I just meant to say something serious. I do actually make something in. I do make a point in here that I find a little unsettling, but I decided to keep it in because I was going to argue because I find that some other arguments from some other lesser-known religions make me feel morally unsettled. So I thought I'd leave it. Now for the slings. And I like what she just said because it's going to play right into what I've got to say. So let's begin. My Star Trek, right? Dear gentlemen and ladies, tonight I will present a rock-solid and logically flawless argument that will reveal to you the astounding correctness in the statement: the Flying Spaghetti Monster is the one true God. I shall do this by the age-old cause of coffee table banter, the problem of evil. Let me recap, for those who don't drink coffee, that the problem of evil is relatively thus: that in the world, that the world has some serious crap happening in it. And if God of whatever form so supposes to be all-powerful and all good, we are then seemingly led to the apparent contradiction, because why can't this God just make it so there is no crap at all, and that in fact it is rather pleasant all the time? Now, One common reasoning that I hear the more esoteric religions ascribing to is that evil we see in the world is there for a higher purpose. That the ultimate resulting good, perhaps in our subsequent moral enlightenment caused by being exposed to this evil, thus outweighs the evil itself. Personally, I think this explanation has a lot going for it. For example, consider the case of the child soldier, trained from birth to be a ruthless killing machine, denied all that we value in childhood innocence. They may, if they are ever so lucky, get slaughtered young in senseless bloody encounter before they even have remotely any sense of a meaningful life. Now, I'm sure we can all agree there is a distinct possibility that such a scenario is leaning to the evil side. But it seems blatantly true also that such horrendous dehumanizing treatment of people definitely leads me to be a better person. True? It certainly helps the children themselves because... I'm actually not going to say that. I think I've oversaid the line there. Having said that, not evil seems so productive. Not all evil seems so productive. For example, let us consider the following obviously distinctive train wrecks of all that is good. First, on the order of wickedness, is of course the Pope. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But there is also the entire Twilight series. Mel Gibson. Oh, I don't have my thing going. Hold on. Pardon? Okay, let's go full screen. Blah, 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 blah.
No.
Oh, for crying out loud. What folder?
One that's open on this one.
How do you...
I deleted it.
Close that. Go to that.
Okay, I like Kindle one.
What do you run a full good?
No. Yeah, make computer work. I'd like to point out at this point I have a master's in computer science. Right.
Bingo.
So that was my title screen. We can go to there. That was my second major point. That was my third major point. Now we get on to what I was talking about. The next thing on my list of obviously unproductive evils is of course endeavour. Right. Give me Robert the light. Hold on. Whoa. Wait, come here the way. Yes, Rodney Hyde, actually. That's right, actually. The satanic juror of George Lucas and Steven Spielberg for their god-awful piece of crap that was our last Indiana Jones movie. And of course, the pinnacle of true evil, Angela Lansbury from the 80s TV show Murder, She Wrote. Personally, I am at a loss at how any truly good God could advocate such horrors. I mean, Rodney Hyde, come on, people! I feel we need to look elsewhere for other solutions to the problem of evil. Another possibility is to deny the agency of your God in general affairs, and that the world is seen as an astonishingly complex set of interacting entities for which none, including ourselves, has any special significance. And as such, the evil in the world is the cause of natural disasters. In the case of natural disasters, is a case of shit happens. And in the case of the actions of people, is a case of people do shitty things to other people. Proponents of such ideas then go on to spout nonsense about how we should use our personal agency to compassionately help those harmed by forces beyond our control, and to actively work towards enabling a better world where people can be valued equally, have what is needed for a healthy and fulfilling life, and not be socialised and taken advantage of and hurting others. Quite frankly, such views sound like a pile of rancid horseshit. At least I'll say they smell like it because I'm not entirely sure of the acoustic properties of that specific type of fecal matter. So this leads me to the last logical solution. I'm going to play right into this, right? I'm not going to disagree with what she said. I'm going to play with it. And that is to disregard one of our assumptions about the one true God. Namely, to allow the possibility that in fact the one true God is a complete cock. An active arsehole, a willful wanker. This leads us to the clear response to the problem of evil through the acknowledgement of just saying that God is saying, up yours, you losers. The logic, thus far, is indisputable. We come to the last point of my talk. I think you can see where this is going to go. I think we need to put this up there. Right? Is the flying spaghetti monster the one true God, or is it some pansy pink unicorn? Well, I think you can clearly see where things are going. Who is more likely to be the bigger bastard? And you set it up nice. A noodly mess with eyes on stalks and really big balls who can fly, or some wussy, namby-pamby, pink, and let me stress the pink part, right? Unicorn can't even fucking see. I mean, for fuck's sake, people. The willful suffering of millions and the merciless destruction and beauty and innocence is not the likely activity of some flaky My Little Pony wannabe. It is quite clear, folks, that the only logical explanation for the world as we see it is the right shithead of a deity. And the only choice, I proclaim, for such a right shithead is the flying spaghetti monster. QED. So QED, sorry, whatever the fuck that means, I think it's pretty obvious who the one true God is. So stop your freaking sinning and devote yourself to the great being of pasta, the flying spaghetti monster. Thank you, and farewell. Run. Oh, and my rebuttal to them. Who needs women when you have the real thing? Noodles.
Flies covered in noodles.
Yes, it should be.
Thank you for that passionate diatribe. I'd now like to ask George to conclude the case for the invisible pink unicorn, please.
Nothing you can say will change my mind.
We'll see about that. Greetings, followers of the invisible pink unicorn, and those who are not yet. I'm here to convince you that the invisible pink unicorn, her horniness, is the one true God. Firstly, I would like to ask you to dismiss everything that Matthew just said on the grounds of ad hominem arguments being completely invalid in all scientific research. Thank you. Now, another point I would like to refute is the idea that the flying spaghetti monster, as they call him, is in himself an asshole. If I turn to page 119 of the FSM Gospel, 119.
Doesn't go to 119.
You haven't read that far yet, Richard.
Oh, shit, there's more.
Now you know some of the science and history behind Pastafarianism, as perhaps these people have suggested to you. Remember, Pastafarians are not assholes. We simply deliver his word.
This under the heading propaganda?
Yes, this is under the heading propaganda. I would like to say that at this point, Pastafarians are not assholes, as is declared in the Gospel, directly refutes what Matthew said, that Pastafarians are indeed assholes.
Just the God, not us.
You know, I'm a wanker too.
Case in point.
And I'm an asshole.
Right, to begin my argument, I would like to let you know that everyone has a connection to the IPU. I would like to quote the Apostle Magnolia from usernet.groups, when she said, after a night of tequila, she was brushing her teeth, and with a slight minty taste in her mouth, she poked out her tongue. It caught her eye. She said, "My tongue is pink." she thought again. She said, "I'm feeling rather horny. Can this not mean but one thing? That I have been touched by her pink horniness, the invisible pink unicorn? Now, I defy any one of you in the audience tonight to find a body part that is pink. I defy even more so any one of you in the audience to say that you have never once been horny. Thus, the invisible pink unicorn has touched you all. Right. As that's clear enough, and everybody is pretty much settled on the fact that the invisible pink unicorn is here and is with us, I would like to talk about the invisible pink unicorn as its place of worship, the laundry room. Right? The invisible pink unicorn worship in front of the dryer, and this is explained by the fact that occasionally, if you're very lucky, your white socks come out of the washing machine pink. A clear sign, again, that the invisible pink unicorn is with you. Another explanation for laundry room related events is the holes in socks, which are clearly caused by the horn of the invisible pink unicorn spearing this item of clothing. One argument that's used against flying spaghetti monsterism
Blasphemy.
is evolution. Poodles can't have evolved, you say? Well, I think the poodles have clearly evolved to be a loving pet for French people. Invisible pink unicornists are strong believers in evolution. In fact, we believe that fossils are the remnants of species that have transcended into a semi-invisible state, which is why we can only hardly see them. See? Invisible pink unicornism, totally compatible with science, whereas flying spaghetti monsterism is clearly not. Finally, I would like to draw your attention to some of the sightings of the flying spaghetti monster. Oh, that's David Tennant.
Why are we seeing that?
Why would we not be seeing David
What's
Tennant?
wrong with you?
The invisible pink unicorn, Her Holiness, our one true God. This is a vision of the flying spaghetti monster. Now, I would like to tell you that this is merely a misrepresentation of what is only a child's drawing. This child's drawing is clearly a picture of the invisible pink unicorn, written by the disciples Roxanne and Philip. If that doesn't convince you, I don't know what will. Thank you.
That's actually a really good argument. Can I join your team?
Yeah,
Throw some food.
Buckets.
Thank you for that, George. And since Richard has decided to just jump in, I'm going to ask him to give the leader's reply for the invisible pink unicorn.
If I'm a little weird, it's probably because of the fumes from the pink hair dye that's just been sprayed on me. Well, the first speaker for the invisible flying spaghetti monster. I'm in between religions. The first speaker, me, foolishly argued that the FSM could be established empirically. However, we shouldn't trust physicists or biologists because they're confusing and weird. Rather, we should base our belief on faith and the sexiness of our God and her followers. We should follow a God, and people in the audience, we should follow a God who does not kill kiwis and put babies in microwaves. To see if they will tap on the glass to get out. I'll tell you in a couple of minutes. Hannah, the pink one, showed how the FSM is a sexist god, and I think I have a better chance of sleeping with her if I join this team. Oh.
The motivation of all religions.
Oh, that sexy pink hair. Oh.
Unicorn or Richard?
If I call on Matthew, is he ready to apply? I don't know how you're going to follow that, but...
Not because I wasn't following it. Well, I like to thank both sides for their interesting arguments. At least I assume they were interesting because, as I just said, I wasn't actually listening or wasn't really following because I think it's a shit. I didn't know you were. And I bet I'm going to show one last time just why. So let me wrap up and fully illustrate to you all why the one true God is the flying spirit.
Ah, wait. Is it too late to ask people? Is it too late to ask people to turn their mobile off?
What Richard is trying to say, everyone, please switch your mobile phones off out of courtesy for the speakers. Thank you.
I'm going to text one of you at random.
Actually, me, I haven't got a text for today.
Where else would you put them?
He's a bad man.
To see the obvious conclusion in the favour of the moot that the one true God. Well, I think we didn't even say what the moot was, did we? But the point was that the one true God is flying speediness. And to see the obvious conclusion, we must realise that in fact the very question of asking that misses the whole point. In fact, that doesn't even make any sense to ask such a question. When we consider the final fundamental tenet of the flying spaghetti faith, that is not the flying spaghetti, it is not the question of whether the flying spaghetti monster can or cannot be the one true God. Because it is simply in his nature. I want you to get the segment right. I want you because it makes a lot of sense. It is in his nature as a divine being to be the one true God. You can't question it because it's in his freaking nature. Alright?